As operating experience has shown, the base 2.0 power unit turned out to be the most unsuccessful engine in terms of reliability. So in particular, on cars even with low mileage, many owners began to be bothered by a knock from under the hood during the start of a cold engine. The reason for this knock is defectively camshaft, or rather, it's not entirely the correct location. Therefore, before buying, be sure to check whether this problem was fixed under warranty. Also, the cause of extraneous noise when starting the engine can be an extended timing chain. One of the most common drawbacks of 3.0 gasoline engines is the burnout of the intake manifold flaps. The complexity of this problem is that the dampers are an integral part of the intake manifold and you cannot buy them separately, therefore the manifold has to be changed entirely. Signals about the presence of this problem will be floating speeds, weak dynamics performance of the engine. If the dampers start to burn out, you need to urgently contact the service, otherwise, over time, they will come off and get into the engine, which will lead to costly repairs. Also, after 100,000 km, the timing chain stretches and the intermediate gears of the balancing shaft wear out. The 3.5 motor is perhaps one of the most reliable among gasoline engines, but due to the high transport tax, this power unit is not very popular among motorists. One of the disadvantages of this unit is the fragility of the chain tensioner and gas distribution sprockets. Their resource, on average, is 8100 km. Diesel rumble and metallic ringing when starting a cold engine will signal the need for an urgent replacement. Mercedes GLK diesel engines are quite reliable and rarely present unpleasant surprises to their owners, especially on cars of the first years of production, but only if high-quality fuels and lubricants are used. If the previous owner refueled the car with low-quality diesel fuel, then soon you need to be ready to change the fuel injectors and injection pump. Due to the accumulation of soot, the exhaust manifold flap servo may fail. Also, some owners note failures in the electronic engine control. On vehicles with a mileage of over 100,000 km, there may be problems with the pump, leak, play, or even whistle during operation. On a 3.0 engine with a mileage of more than 150,000 km, you may encounter the destruction of the exhaust manifold and the subsequent destruction of the turbine. Most of these cars in the aftermarket are offered with all-wheel drive, but rear-wheel drive cars are also found. The reliability of the transmission directly depends on the power of the installed engine and driving style, and the higher the power of the engine, the less the resource of the gearbox. It is very important to inspect the box, transfer case, and gearbox for oil leakage before buying. If during slow acceleration or during deceleration you feel that the automatic transmission is pushing at least a little, then it is better to refuse to buy this instance. Most often, the cause of this behavior of the box is the failed electronic board of the automatic transmission control unit. Also, this can occur due to wear of the valve body and torque converter. With careful operation, the box on average will last 200 to 150,000 km. In order to extend the transmission service lines, servicemen recommend changing the oil in the box every 60–80,000 km. The all-wheel drive system cannot be called very gentle, but nevertheless, we must not forget that this is a crossover and not a full-wedged CUV, and for serious loads it is not designed. One of the common drawbacks of the 4MATIC 4WD transmission is the outboard bearings of the drive shaft, which is located in the crankcase. During operation, dirt gets on the bearing from under the wheels, which provokes the formation of corrosion. As a result, the bearing wedges and turns. To avoid serious consequences, many mechanics recommend changing the bearings along with the oil. This model is equipped with a fully independent suspension, McPherson strut at the front and the monolink in the rear. Mercedes-Benz has always been famous for its well-tuned suspension, and the GLK is no exception. The car has excellent performance. Unfortunately, the suspension of this car cannot be called indestructible, since the chassis as for a crossover is very gentle and does not like driving on broken roads. And if the previous owner liked to need the dirt, a major overhaul of the chassis will not take long. Traditionally for modern cars, most often the stabilizer struts need to be replaced about once every 30–40,000 km. The silent blocks of levers also live not much longer, on average 50–60,000 km. The resource of shock absorbers, levers, ball bearings, wheel and thrust bearings does not exist 100,000 km. The service life of the brake system directly depends on the driving style. On average, the front brake pads have to be changed every 35–45,000 km, the rear 40–50,000 km. Before restyling, the car was equipped with power steering, after electric, as operating experience has shown most often bothers the owners of the rail with hydromechanical power steering, where of the rail bushings power steering fluid leakage. As befits Mercedes-Benz cars, most of the finishing materials of the Mercedes GLK interior good enough quality. But despite this, on many copies the leather upholstery of the seats quickly rubber and creaked. Fortunately, the manufacturer changed everything under warranty. The interior heater motor is located before the filter, which as a result leads to rapid contamination and premature failure. An unpleasant whistle during the operation of the ventilation system will serve as a signal about the need for the early replacement of the motor. Quite often, owners blame the failure of the rear and side parking sensors. Also, there are comments on the reliability of the tailgate electric drive. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.